Good afternoon, and welcome to the Greater Illinois Chapter of HIMSS, our virtual event, Advancing Integration event, which is regarding orchestration architecture. My name is Tom Pollard. I'm a major account sales manager from Brother International, a member of the Educational Program Committee at GIC HIMSS. I just want to alert you to a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. If at any time you have a question, please type it in the question box at the bottom of your control panel, and we will answer as many questions as we can at the end of the program. If we do not get your question in the time allotted, your question will be answered by email. GIC HIMSS would like to thank all of our sponsors for their support, because without them, these educational events would not be possible. And I'd like to thank our founding sponsors, Secure IT 360, Rubric, Fujitsu, Konica Minolta, SailPoint, Brother, Connection, as well as our elite sponsors, Dr. First, Zebra, and our premier sponsor, MediaGate. You could also search for us on our our upcoming events. I would like to remind you of which are the 28th of March, which is our next virtual event, which will be the part 2 of this series with our New York chapter, collaborating with them, as well as our upcoming GIC HIMSS National Conference, the 17th through the 21st here in Chicago. As well as we're super excited to help host many of you on Tuesday evening, April 18th at the Adler Planetarium, which will be our meet and greet reception for those who will be attending HIMSS. Also, we just have 2 additional announcements for save the date opportunities for you to get involved with, which is March 30th at 5:30 p.m. at the Intercontinental Hotel, located on the Magnificent Mile, which will be an open house reception where you can meet our board of directors as well as network with your fellow HIMSS colleagues. Also on Monday, June 26th at 1 p.m., reserve the date for our annual golf outing at the Ravines course at Cog Hill Golf Course. You can also connect with us via our social media page via LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram. And now I'd like to introduce to you our speaker for today, Camila Altman. Camila?
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. Good afternoon. So before we dig deeper on how we're advancing integration with event and orchestration architecture, I want to go over our digital journey. I'm hoping this sounds familiar to you. We have been seeing a trend at Northwestern where our customers' demands and needs, especially to be more efficient, is outweighed the capacity and costs that we can provide, whether it's for our employees or our patients. If this sounds familiar, use the hand raise so we can all see that we have a similar struggle. I see we have some hand raises. Oh, maybe 15. So we can see we all, have very similar struggles where, the capacity and the cost of things is being outweighed by our demands and needs. So in the past, when we designed solutions, they were very point to point, very individual. So we came to realize that we needed a new strategy and a platform. We needed to make sure things were built in a reusable and composable way. And we had to make sure that everything was highly scalable. And we wanted to put out a tool set for our end users who are sometimes less technical and not have them be dependent on people who have technical skills. So how did we get here? We needed to consolidate a lot of how we did things. We had many data warehouses. We now have an enterprise data warehouse. We had multiple EMRs. I think we had like 3 instances of Epic, 1 of Cerner. There was a Primes at one point. So now we're on our Epic Foundation, which is our 1 Epic instance. We have 1 PACS systems now. I think we had 12 at one point. So now we have all our images in 1 PACS. So this has helped us set up for the future for our digital platform. So what is the digital platform? Well, you have your normal inputs, whether they're clinical system, like our EHR, maybe admin systems, like maybe PeopleSoft, or maybe, Internet of Things devices, a wearable that a patient might have. And we have our outputs. It could be maybe third parties. It could be maybe you want to integrate with some workflow. It could be end user applications. It could be a dashboard that the enterprise analytics has built. So we wanted something that we can build, connect our inputs with our outputs. And that is our digital platform. There are many components to our digital platform. And today I'll be going over our events engine or orchestration center. But just to get an idea how everything flows, I'm going to go over a quick example. So imagine a patient is wearing a device and it sends an elevated health message to our cloud. The cloud ingests and routes that message to our event engine, which immediately persists that data into our enterprise data repository in the data lake. It also then sends any data coming out of the device into our enterprise data repository. That elevated message publishes it into a topic, and an AI model subscribes to it and grabs that message saying, hey, there's an elevated measure, and then it runs a risk score for the patient. That risk score goes back into the event engine, which then can trigger a notification to a provider. It can also grab any data that a downstream product might need, whether more data that is in our enterprise data repository to be sent to Epic, or maybe our MyNM app, or maybe a dashboard. So the event engine. The event engine helps move data packages, known as messages or events, from the original source. We're using Azure Service Bus to multiple other applications and systems and people, which are collectively known as consumers. In the past, we've built many things point to point. It gets a little clunky, as you can see here. Now with our event engine, everything is reusable and composable. It helps standardize delivery of events to multiple recipients. It reduces unique, customized processes. There's a greater consistency in data delivery. If one application fails, sending or receiving applications are not impacted. Clinical and business systems send messages and events to a queue in the event engine. Rules are applied to the messages and events in the queue using a message service. The first rule sends a copy of all the messages and events to the enterprise data repository. This is for auditing purposes, reporting, or debugging issues. The second rule directs the messages and events to an appropriate topic. A topic is a temporary holding location for incoming messages and events. Consumers can receive the messages and events stored in a topic by subscribing to the topic. When consumers subscribe to the topics, the data can be filtered further from the topics to only receive the desired messages or events. Orchestration is the capability that automates configuration, coordination, and management of workflows to deliver resources as a service. The Orchestration Center is built around a set of rules that trigger automated actions. Workflows can dictate the issuing of notifications, the storage of storage of data in one or more locations, and initiate a single process or multiple actions. So the orchestration capability can receive events from the ingestion, event engine, or other capabilities, and then applies specified rules and workflow and sends data or statuses to other capabilities. So my team has built templates that already have workflow monitoring built in. Since these templates were built with reusability in mind, any use cases can take them, update them for their specific business purpose, which allows for more efficiency across the system. Another part of the orchestration center is notification service. The notification service simplifies and centralizes the sending of various notifications to NM employees and patients. Users will be able to select how they want to be notified and which notifications they want to receive. It's built off of the event engine and is designed for reusability and scalability. Currently, we support sending notifications via spoke paging, email, and Teams, and are working right now towards SMS. So to really get an understanding, I think examples are the best. So I have 3 use cases that I want to dig in deep to really land all these concepts. So to gain a further understanding on result management, I actually have a video. Hopefully you can hear. So result management. It is designed to aid in closing the loop with ordering physicians and improve outcomes by engineering reliable follow-up of radiographic findings. An artificial intelligence natural language processing (NLP) system was developed to identify radiology reports containing lung and adrenal related findings, requiring follow-up. The event engine sends the real-time results to the NLP. So how does this actually work? So the message when a result is finalized, gets sent out of Epic to CorePoint, which is our interface engine. CorePoint takes that, what is it, HL7v2 messages, converts it into a JSON, which is something, a format more appeasing to the eye, sends it into our cloud, into our queue, which is our inbound HL7 queue, which then sends it to the message service. Again, those same 2 rules are applied. The message service sends it to our enterprise data repository to be stored, and it then looks at the routing rules to figure out which topic this message needs to be routed towards. In this case, this example is sent to our HL7 ORU topic, which is where all our result messages are set to. The result management subscription is subscribing to that topic and sends it to our NLP. The NLP then sends the output of the findings back into the event engine, which again goes to the same message service, which again goes into our enterprise data repository, and then is sent, using the routing rules, is sent to our file to Epic topic. That is then picked up and sent to Epic. Once it is in our EHR, the discrete finding triggers automatic alerts being sent to both physicians and patients to schedule appointments. It also allows for the tracking of statuses of those. The results management project is going to continue to scale out with more types of findings and models. Building it on the platform allows the solution to be continually scalable with not much work involved. Since the majority of the solution was built in the digital platform, everything was built to be composable. When another solution needs to receive similar data or send data into our EHR, that work is already done. They just have to plug it in. Our result management went live in December 6th of 2020. Since then, the NLP has reviewed over 1 million reports and identified over 59,500 findings. I see we do have a question in the Q&A. Can a message be routed to more than one topic? Yes. So a message could come in from Epic and be sent. When it gets to the message service, it can be routed to multiple topics. Okay. The next use case. So another example that is in the platform today is surgical scheduling. So our surgery department wanted to get more specific case length scheduling for higher OR utilization. The analytics team built out a prediction model of how long they think a surgery would take. So again, this goes through a very similar flow. When a scheduling trigger of event occurs, comes out of Epic, goes into our core point, our interface engine, it gets sent to the same queue, so we didn't build anything new, goes to our message service, the routing rules are applied, but this time, for this type of message, it is sent to our HL7 SAU topic. The topic, this is where all our scheduling messages coming into the service bus are routed to. The surgical case length application subscribes to this topic, grabs the surgical schedule message, makes the prediction of how long they think that surgery will take, and sends it back to Epic for our schedulers to update the schedule for the day. I see another question. I may have missed, but I'm assuming Azure Service is using Fire. So some of the messages are Fire. We kind of base it off of the event resource in Fire, which is a very open-ended resource. It's not a specific resource. And we kind of based our schema off of that for how the messages are formatted. But not everything that in the data field being sent through the service bus is Fire. Hope that answers the question. Will ask, what team is responsible for defining and setting up routing rules? A technology team or a clinical team? It is a technology team. It's my Scrum team that is creating those routes. We actually, I'll get into it. Basically, people put in a request, and once my team reviews the request, we just click the approve button, and it automatically creates the routes in our service bus. The final example is remote patient monitoring. So I don't know how many people went and watched the Super Bowl, but there was a commercial with a Jonas brother. So if you're a Jonas fan, I assume you watched that commercial. But he had Dexcom, which is a glucose monitor, on. So again, this example is specifically for Dexcom, but any other device could fit right through here. So we wanted to get the glucose measurements off of patients and get them into Epic. The Dexcom doesn't push messages out. You have to pull the messages from them. So one of our developers created a timer function, which is just code that's set to run every 3 hours. It calls Dexcom and grabs the data for our patients out of Dexcom and sends it into our service bus. Goes to the same queue, again, goes to the same message service, gets saved off in our enterprise data repository, gets routed to our file to Epic topic, which was built already from the first use case, the result management. And this time, if the subscription device flow sheet grabs that data and sends it into Epic. So this is the same exact flow for any other devices that will come up in the future. We're thinking, I think, Fitbit next, probably, but The enrollment process for any device will be the same for all our patients via our MyChart. And I think this will be a really, really important way for our patients to start sending device data into Epic for our clinicians to follow up. So today, in our event engine, we get around 38 million messages a month, 1.5 million messages a day, which is about 60 messages per second. Currently have 23 topics and 25 subscriptions. But, obviously none of this could have happened without some challenges and lessons. So I would say the biggest challenge is awareness of how effectively to identify use cases, whether they're simple or complex, on where these capabilities can be leveraged to enhance communication between systems and people, without reverting back to the status quo. Since this is a component of the overarching digital platform at NM, it was challenging to simplify the process for others in the organization to understand as the part of the change management process. Many at NM tend to look at third-party systems to fix a problem without evaluating existing systems. If an existing system does not have a solution, they can leverage the digital platform for a custom solution. The issue is that most do not think about using the platform to solve their issues. We're trying to beat this challenge with documentations, trainings, and presentations such as this one. Another challenge is the governance around the capabilities. First, there's just the data governance around who is allowed to send data and receive data. It's too difficult to manage. This includes navigating the minimal necessary information to send to third parties, ensuring no PHI or PAI is being sent to the wrong place. There's also governance around the code itself. The proper reviews of release need to happen in an agile manner to continue the speed of work. Currently, our change management is not designed to be agile. However, we have received approval to work in an agile manner to explore modeling agile change management for the rest of the organization. One lesson learned is that there's a learning curve to start developing event-driven architecture on the platform. Event-driven architecture is a new paradigm for solution development. Developers need time to grasp both technical concepts. Only once they have conceptually understand, they can really dive into the technical requirements to be able to code in the cloud. This is one of the main reasons my team has built templates. It's to allow developers to get a head start in developing on the platform already to our standards. Our future. We're just going to keep scaling our event engine and have use cases come in as use cases come in. We want to hopefully in the future operationalize the requests for topics and subscriptions. Currently, my developers are doing that work, and I hope that we grow big enough where we'll have actual full-time employees that are operationally doing so. Fire, as someone mentioned earlier. I see a lot more fire data flowing through and making sure that we can trigger events off of things through fire and making sure fire data gets to where it needs to go for any use case. So definitely keeping the fire-driven architecture in mind when it comes to the event engine and orchestration center. I also want our notification service to be embedded in our employee app and site. Currently, it's just a web portal that we built ourselves, but I hope that it gets to a point where it can just be flawlessly embedded into our existing apps and sites that our employees use. I also see a lot more low-code users starting to build things off of the platform, and specifically in our orchestration center. So we want to make sure that we have things ready for a good chunk of the workforce at NM who are not, C# developers and can actually get their use cases in and help make their jobs more efficient. Oh, I see another question. Result management. Does a physician need to approve the following order suggestion extract via NLP for a new order submitted? If so, where do they do that? I don't know exactly how the Epic piece works. I just know that the binding is added discreetly in Epic and then it triggers a bunch of rules like the order, like a BPA. I don't know what the specific order, but if you find me through LinkedIn later, I can ask the result management team or the team that is over the result management and get that answer for you. I just want to thank my team for all the work that they do and have done. I also want to thank everyone who has been part of this implementation. Many teams have been involved, and we could not get this far without their help. And I now would like to open the floor for questions. Thank you. I see some questions came through the registration. How long did these take to implement? So my team was formed over a year and a half ago, but we designed the platform for probably over a year before that. So I would say to actually implement my pieces, it took about a year and a half. We're still clearly actively working on it. Other capabilities on the platform are also still being actively worked on. But we're set for at least like the foundation to be complete this March. How big is your team? My team is, we have 3 developers, 1 architect, a scrum master, and then me, so that's 5. And then obviously we work with many teams. So we work in a scrum agile method with our huddles every morning. And the other question is, how is Scrum Framework working for your team? I think the Scrum method is working really well for our team. I think in the past there, NM presented on Scrum and Agile on HIMSS GIC. I think having developers have 100% dedication to a specific project or capability in this case is really helpful, and they can focus on the task at hand and not be distracted by other tasks at the same time. And having the huddles and the refinement sessions and retros and sprint planning, I think is very helpful, and kind of turned our team into like a well-oiled machine, and we just kept getting better and better and clicked better and better. I got a question. What resources did your team use to learn how to develop the event engine and orchestration functions? So we are partnered with Microsoft. So we used obviously a lot of their learning documentation, and they have modules, they have classes as well. I think we used a third party to actually take some Microsoft Cloud Azure classes. That is how my team started to get trained. A lot of it was just self-taught, like we, started Googling things and figuring it out ourselves, and just, it was a lot of R&D and the research and development and POCing of things. I have another question. For results management, I believe the order is created automatically and it's routed to the physician that ordered the radiology exam. Oh, someone's answering a previous question. So that of how the ordering for result management goes. Are you running your EHR in the cloud or on premise? We are running it. The EHR is currently on prem. But maybe the Citrix folks will tell me otherwise. I had some appendix slides, but I have some screenshots of some of the work, like our UI of the event engine. I think it would be useful. I'm not going to go over every detail, but basically we built this Blazor app for the front end where we can see the topics, get the details, we can click in the topics and get more configuration values around that. But people can come in here, put in their requests, whether they want to request a new topic or just subscribe to one. And so we built this whole process out to help our employees start getting access to our event engine. I got another question. What did you build the notification center on? So the notification center, we built it on Azure using the event engine for triggering of the events, and then we built like the code is in an Azure function itself. So it's all built on Azure. And then the UI in front of it, we again use a Blazor app, which I actually have a screenshot of. So, you know, a user can see what notifications they're receiving. Since I'm an admin, I can see everyone's notifications. And people can come in and put in their preferences in the app. The users need to take training to leverage this. Yes. So the question is, will users need take training to leverage these solutions? The answer is yes. The users will definitely need training. The training team and the writing team, we have already like a level 1 in our learning performance area online for the digital platform, and they're currently working on the next level. But there's definitely going to be training involved to be able to use the platform. We're hoping to be able to have some type of like hackathon soon for our employees where they can come in to a safe space online, very secure, and they can just play around and start trying out these tools. Any other questions? Any pieces that were a little confusing anyone wants me to go over again?
Looks like we're out of our end of our time for today. Camila, thank you so much for the great information that you presented. Very informative, and we look forward to the next chapter of this conversation. And again, I would like to thank our audience for joining us and providing some great questions. If we did not get to your questions, we will respond via email. We look forward to seeing you all at one of our upcoming events. Please visit the GIC HIMSS website for more information. Have a great rest of your afternoon and enjoy your week.
Thank you.